Okay, welcome to the MAUCH CHUNK Tramway. And when we last left you, I had some track down, but I did not have the turnout finished. I mentioned, I think, that I had built the turnout a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago in my old workshop. And the only thing I didn't do when I built it was I didn't build the points for it, and I also didn't add the guardrails, which that's a very simple thing. But I finally got around, since I got track past there and I wanted to run my locomotive past there, I finally got around to building the points. So basically the aluminum rail comes up to here, and then from here to here, which is about 26 inches, is steel points. I made the points out of, it's 1-inch channel. It's like, you know, a U-shaped piece of steel. Just bought it at my local steel supplier. It's fairly, or it was fairly inexpensive, but with the tariffs, I'm not sure how cheap it's going to be now the next time I go back for more. We actually just ran into that with a bunch of stuff that's costed us a lot more for jobs, but I do have enough to do a couple more turnouts, and I'm not going to have that many turnouts for, you know, I'm not going to need that many, so I'd probably be fine. So to shape the profile of it, you actually cut the top, taper the top down. So if you look at it, the top's full here, and then it's tapered here, down to nothing here. Actually, past nothing. I kind of like round it around so the wheels wouldn't catch that. And to do that, basically, I've seen people, they use guides. You know, they actually weld a piece of steel to it or clamp a piece of steel and use it as a guide with just a grinder and a cutting wheel. And I'm going to insert right now the visual of me doing it. Okay, so you can see, you know, it actually, between the two of them, I think I went through one grinding wheel or maybe 1.5 grinding wheels, but they're the cheap, you know, cutting wheels, not a grinding wheel actually. I do use if you noticed in the video, I do use a plug-in grinder. I have cordless grinders, which are great for working out here, but I got a good plug-in one. Good DeWalt. It's got a lot higher amperage than a lot of them, and it seems to cut better, and I'm glad I spent the money on that for a little bit better tool. So on the ends here, which is actually in the last video, I had started making these points, and you saw me on the bandsaw cutting out. I think it's in the last video. If it's not, I'll add it to here. But I was cutting out the tabs for the that fit in between the rails here. So this is actually 26 from here to here, and then there's another inch or two I leave on there. And there's tabs that fit in the rail profile. They fit in this space on the opposite sides here. And I just drilled some holes on the drill press there for the tabs. And then I also drilled holes here for the, to hold the, this crossbar. I'm not sure what the term for that is, but, and then these are bolted in with the same bolts I use for the rail joiners on the track, just stainless steel, 10, I think they're 1024s maybe, or 10, no, they're actually a fine thread. I'm not sure what they are. There might be 1028 or 1032 or something, but they're held in by that, and they're pretty stiff when you because it's the steel, but it's enough to kind of hold position, which is kind of cool. How far apart I put in here, I just guessed. I don't know for sure. You also notice that I did notch these rails a little bit, just to kind of tuck it in. And again, I don't want the wheels to snag when they're going through the turnouts here. Also check the gauge as I went around, and I think I did need to make one adjustment to maybe this rail. I forget, but I believe I needed to make a slight adjustment to maintain, you know, a nice steady gauge going through here. For the bar, I thought that I might have trouble getting to the bottoms of these. I was watching a video that Stan Ferris with his Crow's Nest Railway, and he was building a turnout, and it, you know, he said he wasn't going to be able to get to the hardware after the fact, and so I actually drilled and tapped these like he had done. So the steel bar is actually drilled and tapped, and then these are just threaded in there, which is actually probably a better system anyway than worrying about some nuts under there. But there is actually enough space for me to get nuts on here if I really wanted to. Again, I think like the drilling and tapping is kind of more elegant anyway. And I actually had a lot of problems down here getting these connected. So the one thing I discovered when I started building this that I didn't use long enough, whatever these are called, the ties for the switch stand. I probably should have added about 6 inches to the length on these things. I don't know why I didn't, because I could just cut them later. So, and the reason for that is because of the switch stand I'm using. I think when I built it, I thought I was maybe going to use some kind of ground throw type thing, like AccuRail makes like a plastic one. I think I was probably maybe going to try to use, but I decided to do more of a narrow gauge look. And again, I actually saw on Stan Ferris's videos with the Crow's Nest Railway, I saw he used this little harp stand. And that's a real narrow gauge, like kind of Denver, Rio Grande look. And I thought that would be really cool to have a harp stand to throw the switches. So that's what I'm doing. And the problem is the harp will be pretty high. I forget how high I have it, but it might be up here. I actually thought that would also be good because I could actually reach out and maybe even throw it, or have the last person in the car throw it. So I'm going to have to pull it out a little way so I get some clearance for my locomotive. Because basically right about here is like the clear space. So if that stands here, it might be okay, but I think I'm going to add 6 inches just to be safe. So it's going to be a little bit of a heffalump here. I'm going to add some boards, and I'll probably double them up here and screw to them. So it's not going to look the cleanest. Now, I bent this. This is a 1/8 inch by 1 inch steel, and then I bent it over to form like an L on it here. And there's a hole drilled in it, a 1/4 inch hole, and then I have a 1/4 inch threaded rod here. And my idea, which may or may not work, is to put it through here. I'm going to have a washer, and I have two springs, one on each side of this tab, this bent part here. So I'm putting the washer on, and then a spring, and then another washer, and then a nut. Again, all 1/4 inch. Got a little chipmunk here running around. There was actually a squirrel out here that I think might have rabies. So I'm keeping my eye out for him. I saw him earlier in the day. Something's wrong with him. So basically what this does is there's a spring on each side of this tie. So there's some spring action in this thing. And the reason for that is the through route is actually here. The straight route through this turnout only goes to the engine house. So when I run trains, I'll be backing out of the engine house and going that direction. So I'm going to set the switch stand up so the normal position of the switch is like you see it now. And what I want to be able to do is just to run this train out, and it kind of just push the switch over enough to squeak by, and then the switch pops back. So the only time I would actually have to throw the stand is to put the locomotive back in the engine house. And again, that's what the spring, like if the springs were this way and it was the through route and you came through from the diverging route, theoretically it would kind of just push the stand over, let you get through, and then pop back to the straight. So that's with these springs, that's the idea on them. And I'm going to take this off. But with the nuts on these, I can adjust them, and so I probably will have to, kind of worry about compressing the springs, quite a bit, to get just enough tension to reset it, but enough to not have to throw things a lot. Again, that'll also depend on the throw of the switch stand, which I'm not sure how far that's going to move. But with the springs, it gives you room to adjust. Without the springs, if your throw is off, you're going to have a problem. So if you don't have the springs on here, the springs are basically act as shock absorbers, I guess. That would be a good analogy. So they'll take up any excess. So unless I design the switch stand to be perfectly, the lever arm down here, to be perfectly whatever this throw is here, like a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch, it won't work. So, if it's too much, the stand wouldn't go over all the way. If it was less, it wouldn't, the switch itself wouldn't throw all the way. So the springs, will allow me to adjust for that and to kind of set that. Now on the other end, you can kind of see I have this shackle thing, and the arm for the harp stand will go in here, and there'll be a pin and a clevis that goes through here, and that's how it'll attach to that. And so that's it for the switch, and I'm going to show you the switch stand next. Thanks for watching. Take care.